Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and behind us I have the brand new Auto Trail Expedition C73. So this is the handover of the C73. So starting the walk round of the C73, so you do have the first point you get to is your mains connection point. So lifting the wheel flap up, get your hooker blade, lift the collar and slide the mains connection on. Always hook the motorhome up first, then the power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking the van, just so that you're not walking around with a live lead. And then below you'll notice a grey tap. This is your waste disposal tap, so anything that you've put down a plug hole, shower water, sink water, hand basin water, anything that you've drained off goes into the waste holding tank. There's a lever on the side and you'd simply drive over the motorhome service bay on the way out of your site and deposit your grey waste. It's very important in the winter as well that you drain this down, as you wouldn't want the water to get cold in the bad weather and freeze, because then it can crack your waste tank and your pipework and cause a lot of damage. Coming further back, you've got your toilet cassette. So using your habitation key, which is your little black key, it'll open all the external locks. What you do then is lift the blue clip here, which will release the cassette, pull it out, remove the blue cap so it looks like this, carry it to your waste disposal point, or you can wheel it, it's up to you. Then when you get there, remove the cap, press the button in and tip the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in. This is the opportunity you'd get to rinse the cassette out. And then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, the blue or the green, the cap is 120 millilitres of liquid. So you'd measure, put a cap load of liquid in, tip the cap into here, put the cap back on and push it into the vehicle, and it's ready to use. If you're using the tablet form, which is the sachets, you can either put a pint of water in before you put the cassette into the vehicle, or you can flush a pint of water into the vehicle followed by a green or a blue toilet chemical. And then one chemical tablet is good to go until the cassette needs changed, and 120 milliliter of liquid is all you need if you're using the liquid. Behind the back driver's wheel, you do have your waste, your fresh water drain, so very similar to the waste. So if you've taken on contaminated water, you're not using the vehicle for a while and you don't want the water to go stagnant, or you're draining down for the winter, you just open it up and drain the water out. Especially in the winter, you don't want to leave any water in the vehicle exposed to the frost, because it will freeze and it will cause you a lot of damage, and then it's not covered under your warranty, because frost damage is your responsibility. So drain off the waste and the fresh in the winter when you're not using the vehicle. This is your vent, Truma vent for your boiler. So this indicates the location of the boiler. On this model it is in the garage, so I'll get onto that in a moment. And then at the back you've got your garage. So smaller door on the driver's side, the bigger door is on the passenger side of the vehicle. You've got tethering points in the garage floor so that you can tie your load down with some ratchet straps or bungees to stop it rolling around when in the back of the vehicle. And it's large enough to put your bikes in. On the back of the vehicle you've got your high level brake light, your fuel rails for your bike rack. So this is where the back panel has been strengthened at the factory to take the weight of your bikes. So if you did want a full bike rack fitted, the fixing points are there. You will just need to buy the rack to go on there. And then on this side you've got your larger door. So to operate these locks, you've got a little line here. When that's pointing to the back of the vehicle, it's locked. Turn this 360 degrees to the front, it's open. So to lock, turn it to the back, push it in, put the key in, do a quarter of a turn, and then pull the key out. And when the face of the lock stays flush with the door and flat, it's locked. As soon as you do a quarter of a turn, it pops back out and allows you to open the door. So inside here on the 73 Expedition, you do have the location of your boiler. So located in your garage on the Expedition C73 is the location of your boiler, which is just back here. Your boiler does two jobs: heats the water, heats the vehicle. It heats 10 litres of water. So in the winter, it's very important that you drain the vehicle down completely of water. So you've done the fresh and the waste outside. You would then leave all the taps open within the motorhome to stop any water from coiling up in the pipes behind the taps and stopping any airlocks. You would remove your shower head from your hose and lie the hose in the trade to stop any water from coiling up on there, and it will drain straight out via the waste. And then what you want to do is, this is a double jointed drain down, so when it's on its side either way, it's holding water. So what you do is you'd stand it up, leave it stood up during the time you've got the vehicle in storage and not in use, and then when you come to reuse the vehicle, you just knock it down, shut the fresh and the waste outside, shut all your taps, build your shower head back up, fill the vehicle with water. Once you've got a full tank of water or some water in the tank, you can then start the priming system of priming the boiler. So you would come in, put the control panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get automatic pressurized cold water through the system. Then you would go to the hot side and it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. Once the water is pressurized on the hot side on one tap, you would do them all until all the taps are pressurized, and then your system is ready to use for the season as it's pressurized. You can then continue to heat the water if you want to see that your water is getting up to temperature. But remember, drain your boiler down, because if you don't, it's not covered under warranty. It'll be a very costly mistake to make and it can cause a lot of damage. So make sure that you drain it down when not in use. If you're using it, fine, but the boiler will be warm anyway, so it'll stop water from freezing. But drain it down when you're not using it, especially in the winter months. Not so much in the summer, but definitely from end of October to the start of April. So now on the passenger side, after your garage door, is the location of your fresh water filler. So you've got a little key here that you can lock this flap with. Once open, you can slide this up. Go and buy yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, because it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites. You can either buy the extendable hose pipes that coil up, or you can buy a normal hose pipe. Put it in here, slide it into the little groove there, fill the freshwater tank, and you can see on the control panel how much water is on board at any one time. So you can either judge how much water you've got in, or you can simply fill it until it overflows and you've got a full tank of water. But this is your freshwater filler. And then you've got your LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker. So again, using the little key, habitation key, pushing both buttons in will release the door. And you can fit two 6 kilogram propane gas bottles on here. So you can fit one behind here and one here. When you put the bottle on board, always strap the bottle in so the strap's on both. And then to connect the pigtail to the vehicle and the bottle, it's automatically connected to the regulator. You'll just want to left hand thread with your hands, and then you'd need an adjustable wrench or gas spanner just to nip it up, and then you would turn the bottle on and off from the top. Get into a habit of turning the bottle off before you start driving. When you're doing your checks before you start driving away, turn the bottle off just to make it safer, that if you were involved in any road collision, the gas bottle is securely isolated. Coming further down, you've got your awning light, you've got your fridge vents. These have got your winter covers on, so when you're winterizing from November, end of October, November to March, April time, you'll want to put your winter vent covers on. So you'll just need a screwdriver in there just to turn these, and these will clip off. These protect the fridge the element at the back, and it can still be used with these on, but definitely when the weather starts getting a little bit warmer, take these off, because the fridge will not work at its full temperature and its full performance with these on, because it will not be able to cool itself down quick enough. Little key works for habitation door as well. And then opening the door, you've got this switch here, so you've got your light for the step there, and then you've got the switch here for your step. And on the first turn of the ignition on the Expeditions, the step will retract. So even if you forgot to put it in, as soon as you start the engine, it will retract anyway. And the passenger door is a location of your diesel filler. So using the main Fiat key, you can open the diesel and fill with fuel. And then because it's a new Euro 6D compliant engine, it takes the AdBlue solution, which you can buy on the pumps or in the drums. It takes 19 litres on the Ducato, and you'd simply fill from here. It is a little bit cheaper to buy it on the pump like the HGVs rather than in the drums, and it'll come up on the dash when it needs AdBlue. Simply top it up as soon as it does so, because it'll give you a mileage countdown. If it gets really low on the mileage countdown, the engine will go into limp mode or fail to start. So do just make sure that you are topping that up. And it'll do 5,500 miles on a full tank. 5.5 bar tyre pressures, which is 79.5 psi. You've got a jack and a brace and a toneye in your toolkit underneath your passenger seat. Engine batteries underneath this panel on the floor, so you will have to remove that if you ever need to change the engine battery. And your bonnet releases on the side of the dashboard. So if we have a quick look underneath the bonnet, you've got all your fluids to the left. So you've got your screen wash in the very far corner here, so screen wash just there. And then this cover lifts off to top your coolant up. You've got your brake fluid. You've got your oil filler. There is no dipstick as it's digital now, so it's all done through the instrument cluster beside the steering wheel. And then you do have your paint code for the Exhibition Grey, which is 676. You've got an earth for giving or receiving a jump start, and then popping the key or a screwdriver just into this little cover here behind the passenger headlight is where the location of the positive terminal is for giving or receiving a jump start, and that'll run underneath to the battery box in the cab floor to jump start your battery or give a jump start off your battery. Weight plate, so it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, which is the top one, and then 4,750 is your train weight should you put a tow bar on and start towing. So the vehicle and whatever you're towing can't exceed 4,750 kilograms. So once inside the motorhome, above the habitation door, you've got your main 12-volt control panel, and you've got your Truma heating and hot water panel. So I'll start off with this one first. So when getting into the motorhome, depending on if you're hooked up or you're not, if you're hooked up, you'll have 240 volt. All your 3-pin plugs on board will work. If you're not, then you'll just have 12 volt. So this is your master switch here, where you turn the motorhome on and off. Underneath, you've got your lights, so this is a master switch for the lights. Then they all are individually switched around the motorhome. And then if you're needing to use taps, toilet or shower, you've got to put the pump on to pressurise the water. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's left in the lines until it dribbles out. So you'd put the pump on to pressurise your water flow. Then you'll hear the pump kick in, and all that's doing is it's just pressurising the system. This side you do have your awning light, which is the light outside above the habitation door. And then this one, you can scroll through this panel here, so it'll tell you Sergeant EC362 unit, so that's just a home screen. Press again, it'll tell you how good your leisure battery is. Press again, it'll tell you the voltage of your vehicle battery. And then press again, it'll tell you how much is in your fresh water. So there it's saying it's 100% full of fresh water and 0 waste. And then it'll say select battery equals leisure. So you always want the active battery to be the leisure battery. So that means whatever the motorhome side is running is always running off the leisure battery, which is the second battery on the vehicle. You don't want it to run off the vehicle battery because it could flatten it and then you'll not be able to start the engine. So always make sure that says leisure. And then you can adjust the time for when the clocks go back and forth. Come to this side, you've got your Truma heating and hot water panel. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold. So it's a long press to turn off, and then you can press it to come on. This is the standby screen, so to get into it, you would press again, enter. You'll notice that there's a motorhome with a thermometer flashing in the top left hand corner. This is how hot you want the inside of the vehicle, so this is the thermostat. So you can turn all the way to 30 degrees or all the way to off if you are away in the summer and you didn't want any heating on. So for this, we'll just say 30 degrees and you would press enter. Moving on, you've got the water with the thermometer in. This is how hot you want your water. So make sure you've got enough water in first, then you can turn the water on. Because if you didn't have any water in, it is like boiling a kettle without any water in. You can fry the element, so you'd have it off. Eco is 40 degrees of heating your water. Hot is 60 degrees of heating your water. And boost will turn off the heating to prioritise the water first. And then once the water's to temperature, the heating will kick back in. So for this, we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the 10 litre hot water container. Moving along again, you've got a gas bottle and an electricity sign. This is what you're heating the water and the vehicle off. So starting off, you'd have gas. So you'd use gas if you're wild camping, you were parked in a field or a lay-by in the middle of Scotland. So you'd use gas because you wouldn't have any electric. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got a mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. So you'd use mixture 2 more than mixture 1, but you'd only use mixture 2 if you're away in the winter months. Because what that'll do is that's both sources together. So it'll boost the time it takes to heat the water or the vehicle if you're away in the colder weather. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt. And you've got electric on 2 kilowatts. So normally you would use electric on 2 kilowatts in most camping and caravan and club sites, but if you're away on a smaller CL site, then you may have to use electric on 1. But do ask your site what current they give you through your hookup lead and the ampage, because sometimes it can be 12, sometimes it can be 16. So if it was 12, you'd probably want to use 1 kilowatt. If it was 16, you can use 2. But they'll tell you when you're booking onto your site. And then in the top right hand corner, you've got a fan. So you've got it on eco or high. So this is a 12 volt assisted fan, so you can have it on eco if you're away and you are wild camping. It'll take a smaller feed from the 12 volt leisure battery, or you can have it on high if you want to circulate the heat more around the vehicle. What I would do is I would put on eco as well when you were sleeping, because the fan can be a little bit noisy when on high. In the bottom left hand corner, you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off, just the once though. You can set the time on the digital control panel, and then should you get a warning triangle, it's indicating that there's a fault. So you've either run out of gas, you're not hooked up, or the boiler could have just faulted itself. What you can do is you can go into the spanner, which is in the bottom right, click on reset, it'll come up preset, click again, and what it'll do is it'll completely restart this control panel. So what you'll have to do is go back through and set the temperature of the vehicle, the water, the energy source, the fan, and so on. And then to turn off, you just press and hold until it starts turning itself off, like so. To operate the Dometic style fridge freezer, Your energy selection is here, so you've got off at the top. Next one down is mains 240 volts, so this will act as a household fridge. So if you're pre-chilling at home, you can put it on to mains electric, or if you're on site, you wouldn't want to waste your gas, so you would use mains electric as well. Then you've got the battery underneath, which is a 12 volt feed from when the engine is running. So if you've pre-chilled it at home and you've put your shopping in the night before and it's nice and fresh and chilled, pop it down onto the battery setting, and then when you start the engine, it'll get a 12 volt feed and it'll keep your shopping nice and fresh for as long as you travel. So it'll basically turn it into a big cool box. It'll get no cooler, but it'll not get any warmer. Then if you're wild camping, you'd go down to the gas. So the gas is the bottom, then this is your temperature, so you can adjust the temperature on all sources, but you turn it to the max, push it in, spark igniter, and you want to wait for this orange band to go into the green. Once it's in the green, you would let go, and this will light your fridge on gas. So you'd only use gas if you're wild camping and you had no other source available. If you're going to sites, you'd use the electric, and then traveling between sites, if you were touring, or between home and site, once you've pre-chilled the fridge, you'd use the battery setting, which is your engine battery. It's not your leisure battery. And then finally with the fridge, what you want to do is, when you've finished using it for the season, take everything out, clean it out, and then the last thing you want to do is shut the door, because it forms an airtight seal, and all that clean air will become mouldy, smelly air. So what you want to do is, on the side of the light there's a little nib, push it in, these two toggles come out, and what that does is it stops the door from locking on itself. And as you can see there, it's loose, so it allows air in and out the bottom of the fridge to circulate, to stop any mould or bacteria growing in the fridge. In the kitchen area, on the hob, you've got 3 gas burner. So using the igniter on the front, you can light your hob. And once you've had your hob on for any length of time, if you do allow them to cool so you can touch them before you can put the cooker hood down, because if you put it down and the hob was too hot, it will shatter the glass. And below, you've got your grill. So just hold the knob in on the front until the thermocouple gets warm, and then release and it'll stay lit. And then below you do have your oven. You may want to take your oven shelf and grill pan out when travelling, or wrap them up, as they can be the main cause of vibration and rattling in the vehicle. But remember, when you put your oven shelf in, this side always goes to the back and the flat side always goes to the front, as this is designed to stop the burner from being blocked by a tray or any other item that you've got in your oven. Underneath you do have the plug for your fridge, and then across from it you've got grey taps, 3 of them. These are your gas taps. These are isolation valves to the gas for the various items such as the boiler, the fridge and the cooker. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. You do have the wheel arch in there, which is carpeted and encroaches in the cupboard slightly, but you can store in there. And then you do have storage in here, and then above you've got your cutlery tray. You've got this tower which pulls up and down, which is 3 sockets, so you turn it on and off here, push this button in, and then you can slide it down, and to bring it up just release and pull, and there you have 3 sockets on your worktop. Storage in the cupboards above for your crockery and food, and lifting the glass lid on the sink, making sure the pump's on to get your water flow through. You've got your water. This water is getting lovely and warm there as the hot water boiler is on. Across from the washroom you do have your wardrobe, so you've got a large wardrobe here with hanging rail, and then below you've got the shelving unit so you can put your bits and pieces in there. At the back of the vehicle you do have the location where your freestanding table lives. You've got access to the garage, so if it's raining you can get access to the garage without going outside. And then as you've got your transverse bed across the back width of the vehicle, you've got your lights here, twin USBs, two little hanging rails here for the this, which is to stop people rolling out the bed, and also works if you're carrying light equipment on the bed when traveling. You can put that up there and that'll stop it from rolling off when you're driving. And then at the back you've got shelving on both sides. Pressing the clip underneath, it'll release the locker, and you've got two lockers in there as well. You do have a mains 240 plug in the corner as well, and then on all windows you've got a blackout blind and a fly screen, and then you've got these decorative curtains for privacy when you've got the blackout blinds and the fly screens up. So in your lounge, if you remove these cushions just behind the driver's seat and lift this panel out, underneath here you've got a 20 amp main battery fuse. This is the location of where your hookup comes in, so this is your leisure battery. So removing that, you have a 100 amp hour banger leisure battery in there. If you did want another leisure battery fitted, they would just fit a battery box in here with another battery in there, so you will lose out on a little bit of storage. But one fully charged leisure battery should last you 3 days. If you had two, you've got 6 days, but it just depends what you're intending to use the vehicle for while camping or sites. Above you do have your C73 power supply unit, so you've got a system shutdown button here, so if you wanted to stop any power drain you can press this button, but that will turn off the head unit as well. So when you get into the vehicle and wonder why the head unit's not working, it's because this is off, and you would mainly turn this off in the winter when storing the vehicle. You've got your heater and your charging unit on 240. You can turn these off, but I would just leave them on. They'll only work on electric. Obviously your heater and your hot water system does work on gas. You've got all your 12 volt fuses, which are listed here what they do, so it would be a good idea to carry some spare blade fuses with you in case a fuse does blow. You can replenish the fuse. And then you do have your RCD and your MCBs on the right hand side on mains electric, so if you trip it out with anything you can try here before you try your main site. You'll also notice in this cupboard you've got a sticker which has a build number on. This is a unique number to your vehicle. If you ever need any parts in the future or any warranty claims, quote this number and then we'll quote it to Auto Trail, or any other Auto Trail dealer will quote it to Auto Trail, and they'll get the right parts for your vehicle. Across from the kitchen you do have your washroom. So it's quite a nice washroom with the shower being separate, but it's all in one. But you do have the step down into the shower. So to operate your toilet, make sure the pump's on, and you'll be able to press this blue button underneath the Thetford logo, which is your freshwater flush. Flushes the toilet, so you always want to flush the toilet first before use, and then you want to open the blade. And to open the blade, it's this grey lever here on the bowl of the toilet. Slide it to the right. Flushing first helps to keep the blade and the seal lubricated. Use the toilet, flush after use, and then what you do is you just slide this back to the left. Once it's in this position, should the cassette ever be full, you'll be able to get it out, and you always want to get into a habit of closing the cassette after use. If you are using the pink liquid, there's nowhere for the pink liquid to go because it isn't a header tank, but what you can do is put it into a spray bottle, spray the bowl of the toilet before you flush, and it'll do the same job. When the cassette's full, it'll indicate on the back left hand corner of the toilet, showing green there, which means it's empty. It'll start to go to red until it goes to a solid red, which means it's time to empty the cassette. You've got your bathroom light just hidden underneath the toiletry cabinet there. Frosted window, but it opens the same as all the other windows. There's your hot water coming through there, nice and warm. And then you've got your large shower. So you've got a turnbuckle on there for the shower screen when travelling. Make sure it's isolated and secure. And then you've got your shower head. And like I was saying, when winterising, just unscrew it, take this off the holder and lie it in the tray, because you can see it's got quite a big loop in there, and leave all the taps open. Above the carb, you've got your additional 2 berths. So when travelling, you can have this up like so, because it's on gas struts, to keep all your spare bedding and bits and pieces towards the back when travelling. But always make sure that you're putting soft lighter things up here and nothing heavy and hard in case it does fall down. And you put your board down like so, clip the ladder on here. You've got a net safety bar should you be putting children up here. So on either side there's 2 clips, so that'll just clip up like so. And then your mattress you would just fold over once it's out the protection bag, and you can dress the bed. And that would be another double bed above the carb. Same window for the skylight with fly screen one way and blackout blind the other. And you do have a light on here as well, which you can turn on and off from the top of the light. So now in the carb, which is based on the all new Fiat Ducato Series 8, so it gets a new design dashboard, new design door cards, lighter steering wheel and digital clocks. So starting off via the right hand side of the driver's seat, this is where the handbrake is. And then on the doors, to black them out, you do have Remus car blinds, which is an option on the Expeditions. So if you press and slide, so pinch it with your thumb and your finger, that'll black the driver and passenger doors out. And then if you do the same on the windscreen, meet in the middle, they are just magnetic, and that will black your carb out. On the top of the door card, on the driver's door, you do have your electric windows, driver and passenger, and mirrors. So you've got 2 mirrors each side, so you've got the top and the bottom being the blind spot. Headlight adjustment. You've got an eco button there, so that just saves a bit of fuel, so you can pop that on or pop that off, and it'll tell you if eco connected, eco disconnected on the clock. There, and then you do have your rear fog lights, and then if you want to turn off your start stop, you can disable that from here as well. Wipers, lights and indicators. Your cruise control is now on the steering wheel on the Series 8, so you've got cruise control and it'll say cruise control ready, and then you just set by plus and minus. Should you have to cancel it, you can cancel it here without touching the brake and then resume. And then you can speed up and slow down via the plus and the minus, or you can press the limiter and it'll say cruise control off, speed limiter ready, and then you can set that, and it'll, in the bottom corner it'll say lim, and then you just turn up your speed limiter to the speed you want to set it to. On this side of the steering wheel, this will go through your trip computer, so it'll tell you your range, so how much fuel you've got left to empty, and the miles per gallon that the vehicle is doing. That's on 1. If you go to page 2, it'll tell you your miles per gallon, so that's your instant miles per gallon. The other one is your combined miles per gallon. You've got your, because it doesn't have a dipstick, it's got a digital oil reader for your level. It'll tell you your oil level, and then if you use the 2 side buttons you can scroll through this one. So you've got your oil level, your oil temperature, your oil life, your battery level for your engine battery, your AdBlue level, and your service. But please remember that 28,795 mile that's shown now isn't until the motorhome needs service. The motorhome needs serviced yearly, so every year, first year an oil and filter, and every second year a major service where all the filters are replaced in line with Auto Trail's warranty, because a motorhome doesn't cover 28,000 in a year like a courier van would. Then you can go to if there's any alerts on the next page by scrolling down, and then you've got all your vehicle setup. So you've got your display, your clocks, your language, your security, so passenger airbag, speed beep if you go over a certain speed limit, the buzzer volume you can, and your lights, your courtesy lights. So when locking it, you can set the lights to stay on to go off immediately, stay on for 30 seconds, 60 seconds or 90 seconds. And then your doors unlock, so you can have the auto lock facility where once you go over a certain speed, I think it's like once you get in the second gear, over 10 mile an hour, the doors will lock on the cab. You can have them off or on if you want that. And then you can have your, when you unlock the vehicle, if you want the lights to flash, which is automatically set, if you don't you can turn that off. But that's all in there, which is all explained in the handbooks with the vehicle. 6-speed manual gearbox with lifter collar into reverse. Down here you've got your heated mirrors, your hazard lights, locks the doors, which is just the cab, turns your traction control off and turns it back on, so anti-skid control, ESC. On the outside ring you've got your temperature, on the inside ring you've got your fan speed, on at least one or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here, which brings on the white light. On the outside ring on this side you've got your distribution, so where you want your air to be circulated to, and whether you're recirculating air within the vehicle or you're bringing fresh air in. Cup holders, so you've got 2 in the front, one in the door pockets for a bottle, and then some handy little storage cubbies there. USB for charging, so you've got a USB-C and a normal USB and a 12 volt. Glove box, heated and cooled glove box via the air conditioning on the top of the driver's dashboard, or should I say passenger dashboard. And then you've got 2 USBs in here if your model is fitted with the Accent head unit. So this is the Accent head unit. So you've got radio, which is FM, Apple CarPlay, which is where you would connect through here if you've got an Apple iPhone. It will imitate the screen onto there, so you can use Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waves, and that will project it onto the screen. And you can also play your music and various other bits and pieces through there, Spotify, Apple Music, DAB. So you've got DAB radio there. Go to the list and you can find them all, and then you can press 6 to save your favourite channels. Going back to home, which is the top button on the left hand corner, you forget about the camera because the Expedition's on fitted with the cameras. You've got USB, so because it doesn't take a CD, if you were wanting to put a lot of CDs onto a big USB stick, again you can plug it into the USBs that are fitted into the top glove box on the passenger side. SD card, again you can put onto an SD card if you wish, and you can put into a micro SD which goes on the top right. Bluetooth, you can connect your phone, so you want to be searching at the same time as this is searching on your phone, and it'll come up with the name of your phone on here, and you just press pair. You'll get a notification on your device. It'll say Accent wanting to pair, make sure pins match, press pair, and then it'll ask you if you want to download your phone book. Just press allow, and that will sync all of your contacts into here, so then you'll be able to press keypad, contacts, call log, that'll all be saved. But if you wanted to use Bluetooth music, you'd have to go onto the phone and press the music icon, which is in the bottom right, for that to start working. You've got your volume here, and then you've got your shortcuts to your favourite camera. Obviously there's no camera fitted, but you could wire a camera to this should you wish, as it'll be camera ready, as it's got the camera software on there. And then above the head unit, paper clip, or if you pull this lever here, so a lot of people struggle with these. All you need to do is get it from the back. It's plastic, give it a pull, don't be afraid to pull it too hard. Pull the lever out, pop your device in there, and then close the lever, and that'll lock the jaws, so it locks your device in there. And then the door just folds back neatly.